Hello, my name is Tom Rehm. Today I will focus on factors that hinder good decisions on viable paths to resolve global warming and its climate change effects and propose a way to avoid those problems through dispassionate, deliberate collaboration. I first want to acknowledge important climate solutions work that AICHE is doing. The Rapid Institute enables breakthrough technologies to boost energy productivity and energy efficiency in industry. Using process intensification concepts, engineers can design processes that more efficiently use raw materials and energy. The Center for Energy Initiatives identifies, launches, and incubates new projects and initiatives, including carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration, developments in the energy, water, food nexus, and other energy-related topics. The Institute for Sustainability provides multidisciplinary scientific rigor and research for sustainability discussions, encourages the incorporation of sustainability concepts in engineering education, and facilitates the development of measurement tools to guide the design of more sustainable products and processes. AICHE conducts several conferences that contribute to resolving global warming and its climate change effects. In August this year, the third Solar Energy Systems Conference and the third Sustainable Waste Management Conference. In October, the third Bioenergy Sustainability Conference. In December, the fourth Water Conference and the third Engineering Sustainable Development Conference. In February of 2022, the International Congress on Sustainability, Science and Engineering. And at virtually every spring meeting, annual meeting, and regional conference, such as this conference, sessions are conducted on issues that contribute to resolution of global warming or its climate change effects. So should we be doing more? I'm glad you asked. The AICHE Climate Solutions Community was launched almost 2 years ago. We are not yet formally established with approved bylaws and a managing board, but we're getting closer. Interdisciplinary collaboration among engineering and scientific institutes is the heart of this new community. Climate collaboration is a new initiative that I proposed in an October 2020 workshop. It will be a collaboration among all climate concerned organizations to replace confrontation on climate solution issues with collaboration. In January, I hosted an orientation webinar on a proposal to apply the wicked problem approach to determine the best paths forward to resolve global warming and its climate change effects. The wicked problem approach can be connective tissue between two important initiatives: the technical collaboration among engineering and scientific institutes of the climate solutions community, and collaboration between climate concerned organizations throughout society in climate collaboration. The wicked problem approach is structured to optimize collaboration, allowing the Gordian knot of a wicked problem to be untangled. We must remove passion from this important debate. We must be deliberate. We must collaborate. So what do I mean by dispassionate, deliberate collaboration? How many trillions of dollars do we have available to solve our planetary problem? If we spend $100 trillion and get it wrong, what should we then do? The decision-making process to determine viable paths forward is vital. We actually need multiple paths forward, not just one. So what factors affect decisions on a path forward? The first is a genuine concern. This, of course, is not a problem. However, this one is. If I invest a lot of money into a climate solution, I absolutely want that solution to be favored in any path forward. Although we must have significant sources of capital to commercialize solutions, we must temper vested interest somewhat when figuring out viable paths forward. A couple of years ago, I attended a climate change conference in Houston, Texas. At one session, the speaker was very optimistic that by 2030, the US could achieve carbon neutral energy completely through renewables. I had to interrupt him. I said that we will not do this by 2030. I said that I doubted we could do it by 2100. I said I doubted we could do it in the next 200 years. A lady in the session came down on me like a ton of bricks. She was from Austin, Texas. She said, every home and every business will soon be covered in solar panels. Public passions dramatically affect decision-making on a path forward. Our elected officials at all levels of government have great influence on a path forward. They are elected by the public, who are overflowing with passions on climate solutions. Our elected officials are also going in and out of this decision-making process through our 2-year revolving door election cycle. So we have that disruption as well. I will touch on that later. Far too often, when we come together to consider climate solutions, we bring our passions with us. On many of those occasions, we engage in group think. For example, I engage with like-minded engineers who consider it paramount that nuclear energy increase dramatically to solve our problem. Fair warning, that is my view. The lady who butted heads with me a couple of years ago probably engages with colleagues who think that renewables will save the day. Anyone who has significant money or a career invested in a climate solution will be influenced by those investments. Many elected officials make politics their career, and they want to satisfy their constituents. Too often, these factors result in misguided decision-making. We should not solve our planetary problem through ad hoc decisions from these factors. We must replace the Keystone Cop approach with the wicked problem approach. More about that later. Now, a little history about the AICHE Climate Solutions community. At the 2019 AICHE spring meeting in New Orleans, I gave a 5-minute rapid fire speech at the poster session. This figure is from that speech. It is the first figure in the executive summary of the 2017 National Climate Assessment. The 1.6 degree Fahrenheit rise in the past 60 years demands that something be done, and done as well as possible. On several of my slides today, you'll see the header, Global Warming is Not Cool. These slides come from some presentations I made in 2018. On a Skype call to distant extended family members in late 2017, I saw a daughter-in-law wearing a t-shirt that read, Global Warming is Not Cool. That became my headliner for a while. On December 1, 2016, I read an early post on an AICHE Engage blog. Now my personal confession. In December 2016, I turned 66. You would think that I would have given some thought to global warming before then, but I hadn't. Then this post caught my attention. For the next 4 months, I followed the discussion very closely. I began to think there actually might be some truth to this global warming thing. Fast forward 10 months. In the fall of 2017, I was finishing a 2-year term as an officer of the South Texas local section and was becoming known as someone who was concerned about global warming. Shamal Podar, the 2017 South Texas section chair, said, Tom, I think you should run for 2018 chair-elect. I told him that if I did run, I would run on doing something about global warming. This was my campaign pitch. This was also what I looked like back in 2014, an old picture. And even then, there was some professional photoshopping involved. I was involved, or I'm sorry, I was influenced by that December 1st, 2016 Engage posting that said solutions most likely will be coming from the next generation of chemical engineers. To my surprise, I was elected the 2018 chair-elect. It was a surprise to me as I ran against the 2017 chair of our section's young professionals. I have since learned that most chemical engineers, perhaps 80%, are very concerned about global warming. In early 2018, the AICHE Climate Change Task Force concluded its work. I was a member of that task force. Discussions ensued on what should then be done. A few months later, this led to approval of the Climate Solutions Community. At the 2019 spring meeting, AICHE issued a press release launching the community. The press release announced that the interdisciplinary community would work to develop a portfolio of technical and government policy solutions necessary to address both industrial and societal challenges related to climate. It takes a considerable amount of time and effort to launch an organization that has such an aspirational goal. Therefore, local groups began forming in hopes of furthering this goal. The first in Nigeria, the next in Texas, based in Houston, and the third in the Midwest, based in Chicago. At a Climate Solution Symposium in August of last year, these were my closing comments. That symposium was co-hosted by Climate Solutions for Texas and the Engineering, Science, and Technology Council of Houston. We encouraged involvement from engineers, scientists, policymakers, and climate-concerned citizens and organizations. Since the AICHE press release on March 31, 2019, even though the community is not yet operational, we've had some events. We held a workshop at the 2019 spring meeting, a climate solution session at the 2019 annual meeting, and the Climate Solution Symposium in August last year. A special issue of Chemical Engineering Progress came out a couple of months ago. And the AICHE Foundation approved funding for a workshop on the Energy Innovation Corps, which has the vision of engaging university chemical engineering students in a nationwide climate change initiative. There are many initiatives worldwide on climate solutions. Here are a few of them. It would be tedious to note all of them. So you're wondering, Tom, what exactly are you proposing that would add value to all of this ongoing effort? I'll answer that question, but first, another flashback. In 2018, I spoke to a group of chemical engineers and to two groups of college students. In a presentation in early 2018, I suggested that these seemed the most effective solutions to achieve significant reduction in greenhouse gas emissions in the near term, in descending order of feasibility to do so. In May 2018, I met an electrical engineer in Austin, Texas, who told me about advanced nuclear. I had been afraid of nuclear most of my adult life. By October 2018, I became convinced that nuclear power needed to be moved to the top of this list, specifically Generation 4 nuclear. Two quick plugs for nuclear energy. This is the standard schematic for a nuclear power plant that uses water as the moderator and the thermal fluid. The reactor must be designed for 2,000 pounds pressure. The Generation 4 molten salt reactor operates at atmospheric pressure. This is a major safety improvement. You can read all about the integral fast reactor from this book, Plentiful Energy. So let me ask you this. The engineers and scientists who are passionate that a significant increase in nuclear power is necessary, will that passion within that silo move the needle enough to make a difference? No, it will not. We must convince the public. Collaboration is critical. In early 2019, I got an email about an event hosted by a Houston climate concern organization. There was this oil guy who was going to speak, John Hofmeister, former president of Shell Oil. I thought, well, that's interesting. I'll go and see what he has to say. I met John, and since then, he and I have had several conversations and engaged in more than one climate solutions event together. Upon retiring from Shell in 2008, he wrote a book, Why We Hate the Oil Companies. I finished reading his book just before I spoke to the 3 AICHE operating councils at the 2019 AICHE spring meeting. I spoke to them about the AICHE Climate Solutions community. John is very concerned with the path we are on. In his book, he proposed a solution to the revolving political door and its deleterious effects on long-range energy planning. John proposes energy governance using as a model the federal banking system. I won't say any more about that today, other than I do not think we can solve our planetary problem without disentangling politics as much as possible from long-range energy planning. Okay, Tom, back to the question that you keep dodging. How do we achieve dispassionate, deliberate collaboration? This is a graphic from Shell's presentation on its Sky scenario, which is their plan for transitioning to carbon neutral energy by the year 2050. They project that the population of our planet will be 10 billion by 2100, about a 50% increase in population. They also project that the energy demand will double by 2100. This energy forecast is more realistic than forecasters who say, we've got to reduce energy consumption to prevent the catastrophic effects of global warming. Why is a doubling of energy demand more realistic than reducing energy demand? It's very simple. Billions of people now live with no electricity or with very limited or unreliable electricity. And as our planet warms, their circumstances will become even more dire. In the United States, we have a movement known as the Green New Deal, which has a primary objective to transition to 100% renewables by 2030. In the United Kingdom, the Extinction Rebellion has a primary objective to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2025. How realistic are the objectives of the Green New Deal and the Extinction Rebellion? In my view, they are so unrealistic that these two movements jeopardize resolution of global warming and its climate change effects. Vested interests, political ambitions, and public passions such as these and unfounded fears of nuclear power have created an unimaginably complex Gordian knot. Finally, I will answer your question about dispassionate, deliberate collaboration. In January, I hosted an orientation on the wicked problem approach. Dr. Dick Hutchinson, PhD chemical engineer, led the orientation. In the summer of 2019, Dick Hutchinson sent a letter to 160 heads of university chemical engineering departments in the United States, along with his book, People's Assessment of Global Warming. One of those letters went to North Carolina State University. My colleague, Professor Phil Westmoreland, suggested that I contact Dick to find out what he was up to. And that brings us here today. Dick has a doctorate in chemical engineering. His career focused on research and development projects involving chemical and biological weapons defense, chemical weapons tree verification, and preparing U.S. cities to respond to biological terrorist attacks. In other words, very wicked problems involving technical challenges, societal challenges, and political challenges. Dick is a co-founder of the Stable Climate Group, which is based in Maine. The climate solutions community will be an interdisciplinary community with collaboration among engineering and scientific institutes. Climate collaboration is my vision of bringing climate-concerned organizations together from all corners of society. As you can see from this slide, this is a work in progress. We do have 20 on the Climate Collaboration Steering Committee, most of them engineers and scientists. The AICHE Climate Solutions Community and climate collaboration can be collaborating initiatives. Application of the wicked problem approach can be connective tissue between these two initiatives. Global Solutions and Outreach Programs is a vision that Dr. Hutchinson and I have for applying the wicked problem approach globally. The effort will require people with expertise in engineering, science, economics, societal issues, policy, and so on. We proposed 3 projects: mitigation and adaptation, stabilizing our planet's energy balance to the extent that this can be done safely, and adjusting the atmospheric level of greenhouse gases, and significantly increasing supportive technologies needed in climate science, energy, and stabilization. Our planetary problem affects everyone. It is a Gordian knot of immense complexity, frustrated in great part due to the factors that I have noted today. The wicked problem approach makes use of concepts of organizational learning to achieve our full human potential. The end results of this work will be action plans to solve our planetary problem. A strategic objective is to empower our youngest generation of engineers and scientists. Dick and I are in our 70s, so we'll not be here to see the worst of it, but our grandchildren will be. James Hansen describes it well in the title of his book, The Storms of My Grandchildren. There are storms coming with immense catastrophic potential. We can hope that public passions will solve the problem, but I don't think they will. We must give genuine hope to our youngest generation and empower them to lead in climate solutions. The Global Solutions portion of GSOP will employ hundreds of full-time engineers, economists, scientists, and others in the United States to execute the 3 international projects, and thousands of others on a part-time basis. Chemical engineers will lead this 3-year program. The United States will invite other nations to join. One silver lining from the COVID pandemic is that working together by internet has become commonplace and efficient. The OP of GSOP are the 2 initiatives, AICHE's Climate Solutions Community and Climate Collaboration. Although this presentation is mostly visionary, we are moving ahead as expeditiously as we can. Training in wicked problem approach facilitation skills is underway. We have completed half of a 6-session series. 46 are attending. 29 are learning skills of the wicked problem approach by working on 11 teams. 17 others are acting as advisors at large and are called upon by teams when needed. The wicked problem we are solving in this training is how best to find $350 million to fund the 3-year GSOP projects. In closing, we must replace too much passion, too much influence by vested interest, and political agendas with the wicked problem approach. We must collaborate to solve this problem. In my view, This is best done through application of the wicked problem approach. Thank you for your attention.